You're joining me here on the second video of this series. We're going to cover a couple simple things like areas of Maya. So, up here along the top, you have the menu bar. Now, there are a few of these that are going to stay always the same from File all the way down to Windows. Those will always be the same, but you can change the mode you're in with this little drop down. For the purposes of Art 292, you're going to end up staying in the modeling and rendering tab for the most part. We'll be in modeling at first. And you'll have mesh, edit mesh, mesh tools, mesh display, curves, surfaces, deform, UV, generate, cache, and then I have RenderMan and Arnold because I have both renderers installed on here. We'll get to that, what that means later. I have Substance because Substance is another thing we're going to cover in this class. Again, I'll show you how to get that up there. And you always have help. Then you have a few hotkeys up here that we'll cover as we get deeper into the area. You've got your tabs, right? These tabs here have shelves. So you might use the modeling tab pretty often, poly modeling, but we're going to use custom. And I'm going to show you how to make this tab up here in the next video. On the left, we have the outliner. If you don't have the outliner, you can bring it on and off with this little button here. It looks like a list. And then you've got 3 windows: full screen, 4 panel, and a split. The split is going to use the front and the perspective by default. You can change these. You can also collapse these other tabs. So you can collapse the outliner by just clicking the tab. Stays open. You can just open and close it like that. And if you want to change what's in these windows, you can do that by clicking panels, and we can change it to a different orthographic view. We can change it to a new perspective camera. We can also change it to other helpful windows like the UV editor when you learn about that. Again, we'll stick with the default single screen here, and you get the 4 panel. To go back and forth between the full screen and the 4 panel, you're going to hit the spacebar button. Spacebar brings you to the last one you had active. So if we do single and 4 panel, then if we hit spacebar over the perspective window, it brings us to single. Hit spacebar brings us back to 4 panel. If we roll our mouse over the top window, again, it brings us to full screen at top. Hit spacebar, it brings us back to 4. It's going to activate whatever one your mouse is over. Notice it's the front, and again, it's back to front. Notice it's side. Notice that side. So this will become something you do often. You also have the ability to move around in the scene by holding the Alt key. Alt left click will rotate the scene. Alt middle click will pan the scene, and Alt right click will zoom the scene. This is going to be the same inside of the orthographic views, with the exception of you can't really rotate in a flat camera view. On the right hand side, we're going to have the channel box, the attribute editor, modeling toolkit, XGen. These are some other ones I've added on here. If you want to access some of these, you can also click these little buttons up here. So this right here is the channel and layer editor. It looks like a hamburger. Then you have the attribute editor, which looks like a list. If you click on that window, it'll bring up tool settings. We'll cover that in the future. And then you have the modeling toolkit here over here on the left. This little guy here is for rigging. If you've gone ahead and taken the animation rigging course, you might be ready to use this. But for the purposes of Art 292, we're more or less going to use the channel and layer editor and the attribute editor, the tool settings, and the modeling toolkit pretty often. Great. Down here along the bottom, if you took my animation course 291, you would already know all about this. But this right here is your animation set, and you also have your script editor over here on the right. Let's go ahead and close this. And that is an overview of all the UI within inside of Maya. Now, if yours looks different and someone's kind of changed some settings and customized it and you want it to go back to normal, you come up here to this top corner. You're going to have this drop down for general workspace. It might have a star. That means it's been changed. You can go ahead and reset the current workspace, and that'll reset it to give its default settings here. And you can also go to edit. Sorry about that. You would go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Preferences. I'll bring this nice window over here. You can say Edit, Restore to Default Settings. That should bring everything back to the way it began. There are some couple things that won't change necessarily, like this Customs tab here. And if you're having trouble, please reach out to me and I'll walk you through it. Great. And I'll see you in the next video.